of raw meat was not allowed except in case of sickness, when raw flesh and blood could be used. In cooking and eating of the remains of the kills of lions, tigers, hyenas and wolves was allowed by the Buddha to be eaten by the monks. The Buddha also allowed the use of the fat of bears, fish, alligators, swine, asses, if received at the right time, to be partaken of with oil. Indeed, fish and meat are mentioned among the delicate foods, padit bhojaniya, which a monk who is ill is allowed to eat. The meat of the 10 beings, that is man, elephant, horse, dog, snake, lion, tiger, leopard, bear and hyena, is forbidden to be eaten by monks due to a variety of reasons involved in their eating. The rule of Tikoti Prishuddha, though restrained the monks from being directly instrumental in killing animals for meat, and to a small extent the rule prohibiting the eating of meat of socially disapproved beings made up for the limitations, yet the Pali Indian Buddhist attitude towards meat eating and Ahiṃsā appears to be somewhat contradictory. The Mahayana Sutras deeply deplore any kind of allowance made for the eating of meat. Paradoxically, the rule of Tikoti Prishuddha absolved the monks of any sin, but the slaughterer was very severely criticized. The relevant portion of the Mahaparinibbana Sutta regarding the Buddha's last meal reads like this, to quote, "Then Chunda addressed the Lord and said, 'May the Lord together with the bhikkhus do me the favor of taking his meal at my house tomorrow.'" This is what is mentioned in the Pali Tipitaka. And the Lord gave his consent by his silence. Now at the end of the night, Chund the smith prepared at his house sweet rice and cakes and sukar madhav. Unquote. Now sukar madhav has been variously translated by scholars, whereas Franke and Rice Davids translated this word as soft or tender boar's flesh, and quantity of truffles respectively. Arthur Waley gives 4 interpretations of sukar madhav, that is a pig's soft food, that is food eaten by a pig, pig's delight, a favorite food of a pig, the soft parts of a pig, or pig pounded, that is food trampled by pigs. There are many compound words in Pali of which sukar, that is pig, forms a part. For example, the compound word sukar sali. This word is used in Pali literature for a kind of wild rice, as the word in Pali used for pork is sukar mans. Edward Thomas has pointed out that the word is not the obvious sukar mans, that is pig flesh, which we would expect if this were meant. There is another reason as to why sukar madhav cannot mean pork, because as the Buddha had been particularly invited for this meal, it would have meant violation of the rule of Tikoti Prishuddha, because the Buddha was invited one day earlier. So therefore, logically speaking, sukar madhav does not mean pork. So it is difficult to imagine that the Buddha, who condemned animal sacrifices as well as the bloody trades of slaughtering, hunting and trapping in the strongest possible language, would have sanctioned the eating of the flesh of the same animals. The Buddha's extraordinary compassion and reverence for living beings, as indicated by his insistence that the monks and nuns carry filters to strain water that they drink, lest they inadvertently cause the death of any microorganisms in it, does not leave any scope for meat eating. Thus, it appears that the rule of Tikoti Prishuddha was an afterthought. Moreover, the Buddha taught his disciples that material food should be taken only for the necessity of living, not for pleasure, indulgence or personal charm. So therefore, while Buddhism admits that food is the main prerequisite for existence, it is also acknowledged as a principal source of temptation through which the sense of taste develops into craving. Hence, temperance with regard to food is advocated, and the ideal monk is expected to be with light stomach as well as moderate and restrained in food for the stomach. In this lecture, what I have tried to show is that the doctrine of Ahiṃsā of Buddhism is a moderate doctrine. It avoids extremes, and it appears that the references that talk about meat eating in Pali Canon, they are later interpolations. Thank you so much.